Good afternoon, teacher. This time I am going to talking about the lesson plan number 3. In this lesson plan, I choose the topic shouldn't and shouldn't. It's very interesting in this topic. So I would like to start with the objectives. Through this lesson, students will be able to, in the writing, students will be able to write sentences using the modal verb should and shouldn't. Is very interesting. So, in the listening, students will be able to learn to listen sentences with the modal verb should and shouldn't. In the speaking, students will be able to learn to speak sentences with the modal verb should and shouldn't. In the reading, students in the same time will be able to read a sentence using the modal verb should and shouldn't. This is very interesting. In the methodologies, in the STEP, the methodology and strategies, I use the methods that I use were audio-lingual method and total physical response, and another is communicative language teaching. Is very interesting, these uh, methods that I use. In the strategies that I used was all class work or solo work. Continue with the steps of the lesson plan. I would like to talk the anticipatory set. The anticipatory set. So here I am going to ask the student to get out of their seats to do some stretching exercise. This in order to exercise the students' both emotionally, so that their brain and joints are ready to learn in the class. The another important uh, step in the lesson plan is the main teaching input. At this point, I am going to present the topic to the students. For this, I have prepared excellent material so that the students have an idea of what we are going to learn in this class. In this section, I have prepared a flip chart. This flip chart is the how to use the modal should and shouldn't. So in this section, I prepared this flip chart to show the students that the modal verb used to recommend doing something and to affirm in we think that something is as it should be or no, or to give some advice is just the should and shouldn't. In the modeling is very interesting because at this point I am going to indicate all activities that the student have to do. In this section, I am going to ask the students to participate by writing a sentence in their notebook. It's very necessary to this section in the lesson plan. Continue. I have the guided practice. While the students are participating in the aforementioned activity, I will be monitoring the participation of the students, that everyone are working. If someone have any questions, I will answer your doubts. So in the continue, I have the independent practice. At this important point, I am going to ask the students to take out their notebook and write some sentences using the modal verb should and shouldn't. This in order for them to develop their skills on their own. So it's also interesting, this step. So I'm gonna continue with the assignments. In this section, I am going to evaluate the participation of each of the students. That is to say, I am going to rate the skills and the interests of the students when they are developing all the activities previously proposed. Finally, I have the closing review and follow-up. In this important point of the lesson plan, I am going to develop feedback. This section is very interesting and very necessary so that the students can be clear in the development of the topic. I am going to reinforce their knowledge of the topic. The students writing new sentences on the board with the modal should and shouldn't. It's very interesting. Well, this was my third class as a main teacher to carry out this lesson plan. I looked for the research and methodologies that are consistent for the development of this class. This time I developed a directed lesson plan for teaching high school seniors to choose a topic called how to use should and shouldn't. Without doubt, this topic was quite successful and fruitful for students. Now I am going to talk about the positive and negative of this lesson plan. One of the positive aspects was when I used the main teaching input. At this point, I introduced the topic to the students. For this, I prepare excellent material for the students who have an idea of what we are going to learn in this class. In this session, I prepared a document to show that the modal verb should send to recommend doing something and state whether we believe something it is should be or not. To carry out this lesson plan, the drawing of the paper to the students in a very dynamic and quite illustrative way. So now I am going to talk about the negative aspects of this lesson plan. I think the negative aspects can be when I explain all the activities that the students have to do. In this session, I asked them to participate writing sentences in their notebook, perhaps the time to indicate the activities the students have to do. There was a bit of distraction and some students did not successfully grasp the explanation of the activities. But nevertheless, I consider this lesson plan was successful for the students because they acquired knowledge of this new topic, the modal verb should and shouldn't. It's very interesting because I use a flip chart to show the students I want to take this topic on the students could how to use the should and shouldn't. Is very interesting the way I choose this material because it's very interesting for the students. So the modal should and shouldn't is to indicate some advice you can do or you didn't have to do because it's necessary to acquire new knowledge. This was my third lesson plan. Thank you for your attention.